in the studio with me from the other parties that aren't so pleased with the result, it's fair to say. Alex Phillips, the Green candidate in Brighton Kemp Town. First of all, I guess sort of hearing Sophie's point there, hearing some of Sophie's points there, she acknowledges, and as I think Conservatives do acknowledge, that there is a job of work to do after the 30th of January.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a big job of work to do after the 30th of January, and there's no guarantee that we won't exit without a deal, and we could have a no-deal scenario at the end of next year. I think that's quite worrying for the country as a whole, but especially for, poorer people, that their food bills can go up a huge amount, people who are reliant on medicines. I mean, the whole scenario could be really very, very troubling for the whole country, I think.
And this election as well has been an election where the environment has played much more of a role than it has before. As the Green Party, it's sort of, it's on the name of the brand. What if, as looks likely, Caroline Lucas stays in Parliament but isn't joined by other Green MPs? What role does the party have for the next 5 years?
Well, obviously Caroline punches way above her weight, and I'm sure we'll see that in her results tonight. We suffer as a smaller party because of our first past the post system, and I think what we see tonight is that we can't get rid of the Tories with this broken system, and there are colleagues in the Labour Party, I think, who are in agreement with me about that, and that we need a proper form of proportional representation. But the party as a whole hasn't backed that yet. And so I would really challenge Labour colleagues to sort that out, because if we want to get rid of the Tories for good, we're going to need, to sort out the electoral system.
I mean, Tim, what do you say to that, Labour Party member? What do you say to that idea? Is it time for PR?
Well, certainly, there are plenty of people who think that the first past the post is manifestly unjust, really, in that you can votes for smaller parties can get spread so thinly that they don't get any seats. The problem, of course, is that there's a chicken and egg question here, which is that if you actually want to change the electoral system, then you're going to have to actually get into government. And at the moment, it's looking like it's the first past the post system plus the fragmentation of the left of centre vote into a number of smaller parties that is actually the problem we have at the moment. And certainly we do see the Green Party are standing in 420 seats, I think, and 35 of those are close close to Labour Tory marginals. So it would be good if while we're trying to get to that point, we could have a kind of realistic view of actually where you want to stand, or whether you even actually want to have all these small parties.
Let me just bring Alex back in. How does that sound to you, Alex? Stand aside for the Labour Party and I think the
first thing is about proportional representation, and you're right that Labour, if they did back proportional representation, they would need to be in government in order to implement it. But at the moment, they're an opposition party, the opposition, and they don't back proportional representation. And I think that within itself is very deeply problematic, and perhaps one of the many reasons why today you're not winning, because you're not showing people that's the type of politics that you want.
So you're suggesting people voted for Boris Johnson because they want...
No, I said that was one of many reasons.
Proportional representation.
I think, you need
doesn't
to...
really wash, does it?
I think after this, you need to kind of take a step back and look at your different policies, some of which are absolutely, brilliant and very close to some of our policies. And I'm really pleased as an ex-Labour member to see that happen. But I think that they can go further, and with that, you will gain broader support. But on us as a party and where we're standing, we are a political party in our own right. We're not going to stand down completely across the board with no reciprocity. We need something.
What reciprocity do you actually want, though? Where are you proposing Labour could stand aside for the Greens?
For example, right,
there isn't anywhere, is there?
Hang on, let Alex answer that point.
There is actually.
Where?
So I'll just get to that. I mean, personally, and this isn't obviously through the party or a line, but I have called on Green candidates to stand down in. There's probably
Kemp
about
Town?
50. No,
Well,
50
last
or
time
so.
they did, in order to keep the Tories out.
Can you just let me finish, please? I'll let
Where
you
you're
speak.
standing now.
I'll
Hang
let
on,
you speak.
let Alex finish her
So
point, please.
50 or so truly genuine marginal seats, okay? So that for me would be 3,000 or less. We've seen tonight, if that exit poll is correct, that there'd have to be a lot more of an exchange than that for Labour to win, because they've done so disastrously, unfortunately, this evening. But, in exchange for that, I would like to see, for example, on the Isle of Wight, where, through the Unite to Remain alliance thing, we are on a lot of those websites the tactical person to vote for if you want an anti-Tory vote. And Labour stood there. They didn't stand with a huge campaign. They knew they weren't going to
Labour
win
were
it.
second there, weren't they?
But the Tories have, quite a big majority.
Yeah.
Labour
So
don't have. I think they have pick up maybe 13,000
So it's kind
votes.
of a bit irrelevant,
now,
isn't it?
so I'm just looking at
Not
the time.
if we're going to come down. If we decide to stand down in 50
Sorry, both of you.
seats,
I know we
you
could
need
talk
to
about the
give
Isle of Wight.
something.
Sorry, both of you. We could talk about the Isle of Wight until the cows come home, and we will do. I promise you. But it's now 11 o'clock, so we're just going to cross to the newsroom in Guildford, where Angus Morat has an update for us.